Welcome to the football show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin. Alan Ruff and Tammy McManus are here with me on the show. Delighted to have your company on a day when the football world will be paying tribute to Rod Petrie. Certainly in a Scottish perspective, the Hibs fans will look back on him with great fondness because he was, after all, one of those chairmen that had the interests of the club at heart, McManus.
Yeah, he certainly did, Peter. Sad news. Albert McLeish broke the news to me last night on a little chat with him and some other guys, ex-Hibs players, and it was sad news. I know he'd been struggling a couple of years ago with health, and I think someone had seen him a few weeks ago at the Rottweiss Eastern game, and it didn't look too great. So, it's a sad day for all Hibs supporters. I had a few dealings with Rod when I was at Hibs at the club, and it was all contracts or getting fined. And the one for me was obviously when we get done with the strippers, and yes. I had to go up to the.
You actually got done for that? Wow.
We got fined a week's wages. So it was
He's looking at you as if you should have an award.
So we got fined a week's wages, and then obviously the week he said, "Listen, Tam, keep your head down, don't be doing anything stupid." And then the next week, obviously, I scored at Dundee United and done the pole dance, the celebration, in his office again on Monday, the following Monday. And he said, "Listen, I'm finding a week's wages, Tam, but I'll take it off next month's wages because I don't want you struggling this month." And he says, "Please just stay in this weekend." So I did stay in the following weekend until about 8 o'clock or something, and I went out. But no, I really had a lot of time for Rod. I think he'd done a lot of good work for Hibs. He had a lot of highs. Won the League Cup in 2007, the Scottish Cup 2016. A few lows, relegation 2014, I think, with Terry Butcher. Sacking Frank Sosey was probably one of his lows as well. I think that was a really unpopular decision with a lot of Hibs supporters, but I think over the piece, look at the training ground that Hibs have got now, who's a huge part in that as well. And the club was always in a stable financial footing under Rod. There was never any problems financially, so I think over the piece he'd be looked at fondly by a lot of Hibs supporters.
Yeah, and over and above that, Ruffy, to be perfectly honest with you, when you have longevity because you have a love of football and a commitment to Hibernian, that's one thing. But I think his comments, his contribution to the SPFL board and certainly to people at the SFA would be appreciated as well.
Yeah, he elevated obviously with everything he did at Hibs and took on to the board. For me, he was quite a quiet guy. He sort of went about his job. He wasn't wanting to be in the limelight or anything. He just went about his business, changing whatever he had to change, and had a big input in everything at the SFA as well.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen him laugh at me, Ruffy, but that wasn't necessarily just down.
Yeah, a pretty dry sense of humour, Peter. Once you got to know him,
but that wasn't just Rod. that's other chairman along the way. Anyway, I think from a football perspective, and certainly all the Hibs supporters and people close to Roddy's family and friends, our condolences from everybody on the football show. Rod Petrie passing away at the age of 69. It is the football show, 5 days a week. You get it absolutely free on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. We'd be delighted if you could hit that subscribe button because we need your support over the course of a season. Not only on the programmes that we are bringing you, there's lots more programmes that you're going to find on PLZ Soccer coming up, and over and above that, as well as what we're offering you on the YouTube channel. If you look, you can see a link to PLZ Premium, which gives you early access to the journals, and we're going to be giving away lots more prizes, including this prize. The winner will be announced next week on the show, as Kerry reveals.
Subscribe to PLZ Premium today and you will be in our prize draw to win this fabulous Scott McTominay replica Napoli shirt. PLZ Premium is offering additional content from your favourite football channel. Subscribe to PLZ Premium today and you'll be in with a chance of winning this fabulous football shirt.
Yep, that's how you can win it. It's fairly straightforward. Subscribe to PLZ Soccer Premium and you are in with a chance of winning that replica Napoli top with McTominay 8 on the back. And there's lots more prizes. In fact, for the people who've already signed up to PLZ Premium, we've got a lovely box of goodies that we're going to be putting in some stuff for you, and we're also going to be announcing more competitions along the way for you to get involved in. Thanks to so many people who've tuned in. I think Hugh Scott sums it up really. Afternoon, Peter, Tam and Ruffy from sunny Auchinleck Lech. I hope we're all good after a disappointing week in Europe, and boy was it disappointing. And I am looking right now, and I mean the doomsday scenario is that all four clubs could be facing defeat. Some of them will still have European football, but boy, you know, from the highs of last week, enjoying some of the Scottish football, once they went up against Europe, Ruffy, woeful is the only way I can describe it.
Yeah, I mean, I know we'll start talking about each game individually, but if we start with the Celtic one, I think that was the biggest disappointment. I think we all sat here going 2-0, 3-0, maybe 4, you know, but this team came very well organised, you know, but unfortunately for Celtic, too many players never turned up on the night. Big pressure game, and I think we'd be lucky if I could get 2 pass marks on the forum that they usually produce in European games, but it never happened. And obviously the debate about, you know, players coming in is going to raise its ugly head, but at this particular time he was making changes, and the players that were coming on were not making any difference to the game, whereas before the subs that were coming on were making a difference year on year, but not to be this time.
I would go as far as to say that nothing really changes, and nor will it change the strategy of the way Celtic go about their business. I don't think fans protesting makes a blind bit of difference right now. It's been going on so long. All I would say, Ruffy, Tam and I discussed it in great length yesterday, all I would say is that right now is not the time for mutiny on the Celtic bounty, because quite simply the board and Brendan Rodgers and this team will wait and say, well, there's still another leg to go. They could still win it and get into the Champions League. So before everybody starts, you know, voicing their real heavy displeasure about this, there's still another game to go. And I think Celtic are more than capable of going there and winning.
Yeah, I think they are. They're proved when they go away from home. They have a structure now that they can go and see out games. Before that wasn't the case, but they certainly know. We saw Brendan Rodgers changing his tactics for that hammering they got, that they can go away from home and do well. But I think at this moment in time, there has to be a bit of clarity for the fans. And I don't mean them coming out and saying, this is what we're doing, or this is the player we're after, or whatever. There needs to be, the board need to come out and say to people, look, we are trying to buy players.
No.
No names.
No
names are in.
The board don't need to do that, because basically the Celtic fans are absolutely scunnered with that line.
You've got to give them something, Peter.
What, the same line that's been out since 2003?
Yeah, you've got to come out. You can't have people, you know, attacking the board in a game and getting up there. Just tell them something. Because the way Brendan Rodgers putting it out there, well, nothing coming in, it's not my fault. So the board then have to come out and say, look, we are actively trying to buy players here. It's very, very difficult. Because it's a nothing. There's nothing coming out. And they're just sitting there saying nothing. So when you say nothing, fans go, well, are they bringing players in?
No.
Are they making an effort to bring players in?
The reason why they're saying nothing, one is the strategy and the blueprint, whether you like it or not, is in place. Now, I always, and we always on this programme, since we started PLZ Soccer, whether it's Rangers, Celtic or anybody else, try and offer balance on this issue. The issue sometimes when you get to the people who work in the PR at Celtic, you know, the message that goes back the way is not always the same. So I'll give you it straight. You know, since 2003, since that board has come together in various different areas, is quite simply that they deserve credit because they run it like a well-oiled machine financially. For a group of accountants and bankers who've all operated in that board, along with Dermot Desmond, who makes all the decisions, you know, they're to be applauded that they have close to 100 million in the bank, and you know they run this strategy, this blueprint, the way they want. Every now and then, because they try and control the narrative and the PR when there's unrest, you get a situation where they gamble on qualifying for the Champions League. But the Celtic fans, if you're talking about a release of a statement from this board, not a catch chance in hell, because every previous statement, Tam, Celtic fans have heard it all before. Well, it was difficult in the transfer. We tried to get that player. He didn't come. He changed his mind at the last minute. He was the only one we actually had in mind. Oh, we were going for several players, but they demanded more. We tried to get this player, but just at the last minute, it didn't work out and the transfer window closed, so we haven't really spent what we should have.
But they've not done it this time, Peter.
It'll be at the end of the window, Peter. If nothing comes in, Ruffy's talking about the now. There should be a statement going out on the website saying, listen, we're actively trying to get players in. And you spoke about Celtic having £100 million in the bank. Great. Celtic supporters don't care about that, Peter.
No, I agree with you.
They could have £100 billion in the bank. They don't spend it. So it doesn't matter how much money Celtic have got in the bank. The Celtic supporters want to see new players in. They want to see money getting spent, and it's not been happening. I think they're 21 million in profit this window, you know, with the add-ons and selling Kuhn and all that, and they've hardly spent a bean. Well, they haven't spent a bean. So I'll look at it, and I totally appreciate the frustrations of the Celtic supporters at the minute.
Yeah, listen, I absolutely get it. I mean, I get why they're upset, and I guess why they want some kind of enlightenment. But I just don't see that forthcoming. I know you think it's a good idea to communicate. Everybody thinks it's a good idea to communicate, Ruffy, but it ain't coming from that board, because they work to a specific way. And as I said to Tam yesterday, Dermot Desmond calls the shots. Peter Lawwell's put the blueprint in place. He's repeatedly told anybody who'll listen to him that he doesn't actually get involved in the transfers. Peter Lawwell doesn't need to get involved in the transfers because he set the strategy out. The soldiers, the foot soldiers, are the ones who have to get on with the blueprint that he set out many, many years ago with Dermot. And they follow that strategy. And by the way, again, to offer balance on this, that is what they do. They make money. The problem is, you've had 3 knockout phases in the last, since 2003, 3. You've had about 10 or 11 times where they haven't actually made it to the group stages. And then you've had, as well as the 3 second place finishes, you've had 1 where they finished 3rd. And then, I think 10 where they finished 4th. So that's your barometer of success in it. Financially, it works really well and they deserve all the credit they can get. If you're a supporter and you're looking since 2003 and saying, what about the ambition here? Is there ambition in Europe? You have to look at the stats. You have to look at the stats. And the narrative that comes out from Celtic is they cannot compete. And if you buy into that with them, then you just have to shut up and take the medicine and wait until they want to sign the players. But I would caveat that by saying Brendan Rodgers, as a good coach, is more than capable of getting something out of these group of players at the moment in that second leg. But by the way, Ruffy, what a roll of the dice it is, eh? 60 million and they'll blow it.
It certainly is, but I think the scenario, while this has all been going on, Brendan Rodgers with his contract, not saying, I'll sign another year, a rolling contract, and with that going on, and then him saying, well, it's nothing to do with me, I've done my bit, there's no players coming in and now, I just have to wait and see what the other people do. And what you're saying is the other people aren't doing enough. So the supporters are divided now. I think a lot of them are now swaying towards the Brendan Rodgers scenario of what are you doing? What kind of threat are you putting on this board? Because he seems to have cut himself away from the board.
Managers don't threaten boards, Ruffy.
The thing about it is, what's the director of football saying? What's he doing? Who's he identifying? Who's he chasing? Who's he trying to sign? It's just a total narrative of nothing. Nobody's saying anything. And when you get that scenario, and then as we all know, as soon as a football result doesn't happen, that's when it all kicks off. That's why something needs to come clean and not tell them everything. Players are in like, just come out and say, right, we'll get 3 players. Because if they get knocked out of the Champions League and they bring 3 players in, that's not going to solve anything.
Yeah, but it's what level of player that they bring in after a Champions League exit and where they think they need to spend money. And if you then suddenly drop to Europa League level, then you start to say to yourself, I thought Celtic and Rangers in the last couple of years, Tam, were Europa League level teams anyway. But because of what Brendan Rodgers achieved last season in this new format,
Set a high bar for yourself.
he did, but I expected after the performance in Munich that they would back him, that they would actually say, do you know what? He's fulfilled the remit that he was brought back for, because winning the league with Celtic at the moment should be a given, given their financial strength and given the fact they've got the best coach in the country. But he actually achieved the remit. And I thought to myself, the standard of football they played in Germany that night was brilliant. Back him, give him the 2 or 3 quality players, give him them early, and suddenly you could get off to a flyer, not even have to worry about the second leg and carry it. You were actually talking here last week about would they throw out a B team. They don't even have an A team at the moment that you're thinking that Brendan Rodgers wants on the park. And now he's lost Alistair Johnson for 12 weeks.
Yeah, and he's talking about promoting from within. I've seen that today, talking about Anthony Ralston or the young boy, is it Colby O'Donovan? And that's still going to be a red rag to about the Celtic fans as well, because they'll be thinking, right, we need a right back now. You know, we need a starting right back. They don't see, I wouldn't think that Celtic supporters would see Anthony Ralston as a starter. So, yeah, you're right. They had to back him after the Munich game. They've had that all summer to do it. Again, they've signed a couple of project players, cheap players, and they've sold one of the best players, Nicholas Kuhn. So I get where the frustration's coming from, but it remains to be seen if they go through, Peter. And if they do go through, then the board will be jumping through hoops. You know, they'll be thinking we've saved money, we'll get through. What's all the panic been about?
Yeah.
If they don't, then I think they're going to see a major reaction from the Celtic supporters towards the board. Yeah.
Well, you and I and Ruffy highlighted we highlighted one key area where we thought there was what I would call an inflammatory situation, and that was quite simply nobody knows what Brendan was doing. I think he's going to leave at the end of the season, but he did make those comments as if, I'm not here to stand still. That was one of his press room utterances, which is quite simply, I'm here to make the team better and to get players that will make the team better. So the immediate question is, okay, September the 1st, let's ask you if you've got those 2 or 3 players, bearing in mind that everybody thought they were going to get past Kaya at Almaty. Now you've got 2 things that are what I call 2 lines in the sand, if there's such a thing, Ruffy. The first one is, if you don't get past Kaya at Almaty, all hell lets loose, and then the board have got some serious answers. And then it's September 1st, depending on, even after that, the players that he gets, if at all, then you actually turn around and say to the manager, well, you're out of the Champions League, you're into the Europa League, you've got players, are they the standard that makes you want to commit?
Yeah, but the thing at this precise moment in time, the only people who really know what's going on behind the scenes are Brendan Rodgers and the board. He knows what the board are doing and the board know what he's doing. It's just that the fans don't know which of the 2 of them is really 100% to blame in this whole scenario, because both of them are washing their hands of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Nobody's coming out. He's saying, well, I've done my bit. I just need to wait until these players come through the door.
Yeah.
But they're not saying anything.
By the way, Ruffy, listen, Tam, this is Groundhog Day. You should send Bill Murray into the next press conference with Andy McDowell, because quite simply, this was the same thing being played out the last time before he eventually just basically said, get me out of here, get me to Leicester. And now I think he can't do that, because I don't think there's a way out for him. He can't get out the same way, because Celtic fans...
No. He's not going to leave. I think 100% he's going to leave at the end of the season. I think there's a situation maybe with the board, know that he's not going to sign a new contract, and in 10 months' time...
So you're saying that's the reason they're not giving him any more money?
Well, I'm just seeing
the other scenario could be, we've already gave you 20 million for 2 players, and look at them.
I'm just about to say that.
So what are they saying? Right, if you're indicating,
don't trust them with big money.
Indicating you're going to leave next year, we're not shelling you in our 20, 30 million. That's why we're now thinking all these things, because nobody's coming out and telling anybody.
I don't think you can work that way as a club. You've got to look at club first, manager, coaches. Or coach.
Well, why don't you think the board have pushed the boat out to bring players in?
Well, I just think that's their strategy, Ruffy. They do it every year.
That'd be a strategy when other clubs
Wait a minute,
actively all over the blinking Britain are firing players in left, right.
Am I making it up? since 2003.
No, they haven't done it, but that...
Of course, so they revert to type. So I don't know what everybody is getting upset about. If you're thinking you're going to get a press release or some kind of statement to justify the actions, you're barking up the wrong tree with that board. There's no statement coming. No. There's a game to come and the roll of the dice. Yeah, and if they get past Kairat Almaty, silence. And the silence will be, okay, you've now got a 60 million kitty, because believe me, it gets to that point. You've got a 60 million pound kitty, buy the players, give them the players. Only then do you get a little bit of, right, the next question after that is Brendan Rodgers, what are you going to do?
So if you put yourself in the board's shoes right now, you look at the 3 players that they gave him last season, Trusty, Engels, Ida, none of them's playing now, or one of them's playing Ida and he's out of form, spent over, £20 million on 3 players. Now Brendan's going and asking for another £20 million for 3 players and he's not going to be there at the end of the season. Do you think the board are going, wait a minute, he's not going to be here? Why? And we've just wasted £20 million on these 3 players.
How have they wasted? By the way,
well, they're not playing, Peter.
Well, they're not playing, but I don't believe he signed them. I don't even believe...
He's the final say on signings.
I think he sanctioned them, but I will tell you right now, I don't think the recruitment team that's in place is what he would like. I don't think they're doing their job. I think the players that they're bringing in, I mean, Ida's just not doing it, and you only have to look at the manager who puts Engels on the bench. So I'm looking at him saying to myself, there are many players that have come into that building that he has not been flavour of the month. My God, he's just signed one. He said he's not good enough to play centre-half in Europe. I mean, honestly, what does that tell you?
Yeah,
you don't sign a player. You don't sign a player and then come out and slaughter him in a press conference.
Yeah,
peace.
I don't think that was probably his signing, but
well, wait a minute. So there's one or two that are, or one or two that are not. I don't.
I think that Anamuri you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think he's probably a project player. Well, he is a project. It costs what, 500 grand. So I'm talking about the actual big money that they've spent, Peter, on the 3 big signings.
Here's what he had to say with regards to Alistair Johnson. That Tam alluded to, which is it's not great. He'll probably be out for about 12 weeks. Disappointing for him because he came back and started well. When you lose any player of this calibre, it's disappointing, but it provides an opportunity for someone else to step in. We have Tony Ralston and young Colby Donovan, who has really impressed me in the last 12 months. My first look is always inside, but that's something that will gain more clarity in the next week or so. Okay. They're playing against Livingston, and of course David Martindale certainly mentioned to me that he was hoping Celtic could win over the 2 legs because that coefficient and Celtic qualifying for the group stages of the Champions League gives all the other clubs in the Premiership a huge financial boost because they get a payout from UEFA. So no wonder Davy and others are hoping that Rangers and Celtic can get into that group stage. But right now, David Martindale is talking to his squad, probably trying to work out how they can lay a glove on Celtic and whether he has enough players that can do them damage.
We've got a really strong starting 11, whatever that's going to be, but we've also got real good options off the bench. So I'm pretty comfortable with what we've got going to Parkhead. We've got game changers within the squad, but I'll caveat that with Celtic have got their own game changers also. So it's going to be a difficult game of football, but go and embrace it, go and enjoy it. You're playing at one of the best stadiums in Europe, playing against a top football team, so go and enjoy the occasion.
Okay, prediction, Ruffy, 2-1 Celtic.
I'll go 4-0 Celtic.
What?
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a really, really tricky game for Celtic.
Have you seen Livingston?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think this is going to be a really tricky game. I think the disappointment will still be there lingering, I think, from the other night, Peter, and I think Livingston's probably the last team you want to play.
Yeah.
Maybe at Livingston.
No, but I just think they'll come and make it really difficult for Celtic. I've never seen anything from Celtic the other night that suggests they're going to score 4 goals against anybody.
Yeah.
You know, with the options they've got in the final third. So I'm going to go narrow. I think this could be a 1-0 Celtic or 2-1 Celtic. I think this is a really tough game and tricky. Celtic will nick it by an odd goal.
I think when we talk about these games, you can always tell the people who are serious. We're wearing black and he's dressed as if he's about to hang out with Popeye the Sailor Man. You know what I mean?
Just back from
would you say St Mirren's a better team than Livingston?
Well, that's to be debated because I've seen Livingston. I was impressed with them, and I went to the St Mirren game last week.
Back to the Celtic St Mirren game. Celtic only won 1-0.
Yeah.
But any other day that could have been 4 or 5.
Livingston's above them in the table, Alan.
Right. I see how you side bet coming on here.
Yeah.
See if it's 2-1.
Well, remember,
if it's 2-1, I'll
No.
take the two yous out for a meal. Right?
If it's 2-1,
If
it's the odd goal.
if it's 3 or more, yous take me out for a meal.
yes.
Okay?
Celtic need to win by 3 or more.
Yeah.
You happy with that, Tom?
So we've got.
You've got 2-1.
Is that all?
That's all you've got. 2-1.
What?
If I win by
Hey,
3,
come
if
on.
I win by 3
You-
clear goals.
If Celtic win by 2, it's a void,
No, I've said 3. You said 2-1. You said 1 year difference.
right? And you're
I've
saying
said 3.
Right. So
Right.
if it's 2,
Yeah.
it's
If it's
a
2,
void.
Yes. See,
If Celtic win by 3, you're won your
yes,
bet.
Yeah.
Right, okay, we'll take that, Tom. That's worth it, isn't it?
Aye.
Where do you want to go? Will we go to the Ivy or the Blue Lagoon?
It's meant it anyway.
Ah, well, it is like that, you know. That's money taken off repairing the yacht, that's for certain. Now, only in this Scottish football could you get a situation where St Mirren Rangers on the Sunday suddenly back on the agenda, and David Martindale has to try and get something out of his team. Russell Martin, sorry.
Russell Martin, yes, you're right. You know, and every game that the Scottish teams came out on the wrong side have said we're still in this. You know, and that, for me, this is we're still in this. It's no happening with Rangers. You know, I thought they were totally outplayed in the game of a team with quality, with Champions League pedigree. They're going to have to go, whereas Celtic have got Livingston at home, they're going to have to go to St Mirren and put up a fight because they'll be bullied. I think St Mirren will come out and try and bully Rangers. They'll try to throw balls into the box, corners, free kicks, everything. They saw how vulnerable Rangers are at the back defensively.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a tough game for Rangers. I mean, you are saying it's going to be tough for Celtic, but I would think the tougher game is going to be for Rangers at St Mirren.
I agree with you. And let's try and answer the question that other pundits are dodging, ducking and diving because of the relationship to Rangers. Does he survive if he loses to St Mirren and loses to Bruges and Celtic?
Yeah.
All three?
Yeah. I
He's
don't.
still the manager?
Yeah, I know it sounds crazy, but I think it's a project. Everybody was saying there's far too many managers coming in here. They have to sit tight and soak it up. It depends on what these defeats are like. You know,
Really
sometimes if they're really, well, if you're going to tell me 4-0 against Bruges and 4-0 against Celtic,
Yeah. Sacked?
it would have to be a very, very strong board, not it? But it depends what if they buy into what he's telling them. This is a work in progress. You have to sit in with me. This is going to be a hard watch and all that.
Yeah.
If they buy into that, then he's okay. If they don't buy into it, he's struggling.
Tom, I must admit, I think the world's crazy. I've said last week that I think Russell Martin, with this board, if you're to listen to the board, they have to stick by him. But if he loses 3 games, I think they'll sack him because the fans are going mental.
I think so as well.
I've never heard one Rangers fan this week say anything other than this is not good enough and we can't see what way it's all looking, if the plan's there, what the plan is, where the strategy is. I'm looking at Russell Martin and I say to myself, he's got to build his own team. He's got to be given time to build his own team. But right now, when you read the room and you look at it, 3 defeats, and it's especially Celtic at Ibrox, I think it would push them over the edge.
Yeah, I think if you lose an Old Firm game particularly, I think Michael Beale, you know, you've seen that the last time. I think he lost his job after that game at Ibrox. I think you look at the bile coming for the stands, and that was him done. You know, after that game at Ibrox, and I think it's probably the same with Russell Martin. The problem Russell Martin's got is nobody wanted him in the first place, and supporters were dead against him. I think the majority of supporters were dead against Russell Martin, and they're all thinking to themselves, I told you he wasn't the right man for the job. And he has to get a result on Sunday, and he has to. I think forget Bruges. I think Rangers supporters are expecting him to go out anyway, but the next 2 league games he needs to take 4 points from. He needs to either draw against St Mirren and beat Celtic or do it the other way about. Because if he loses these 2 games, Peter, I think that you're right. I think the supporters will hound him out the door.
Okay, as far as Russell Martin is concerned, he's not surprised at the reaction due to their forum.
I was well aware when I took the job I wasn't the most popular appointment because I don't have a fancy name, and I'd had a spell as a player that wasn't fantastic. So I come in with my eyes wide open and knew what to expect. So no, I don't think it's a surprise. And also with the energy at the clubhouse been over however many years, the frustration, disappointment, all that stuff. But just have to look forward now, like how we can impact it. That's why I don't read it, I don't pay attention to it. It's your guys' job to get as many clicks you can. I know that, I'm aware of that, as are you, so we can sit in here and have interesting conversations, and we'll say some stuff, and they can be taken however people want, really.
Well, nobody's actually looking for clicks. The Rangers fans are looking for improvement.
Yeah, they're looking for results, Peter. And listen, at Celtic and Rangers, we all know it. We've been in the game a long time. Second's nothing. It's nowhere in Scotland, and that's what he's got to put up with. You can't afford to draw the first 2 games. You can't afford to lose to Celtic. You can't afford to drop points away to St Mirren. You've got to win games, and if you don't, you're not going to be the manager long. And as I said, if it was a Steven Gerrard maybe coming back, I think the supporters would cut him a bit of slack, because he's proven that he can win something at Rangers and he can compete with Celtic. But because it's Russell Martin, and because I don't think he'd the CV to get the Rangers job initially anyway, and the supporters were dead against him, I think his honeymoon period is certainly over, and it will be completely over if he doesn't win if he doesn't take full points for the next 2 games.
And against St Mirren, Ruffy, they don't have a great record, because St Mirren in the last 3 games, 2 wins and a draw.
Yeah, they've done particularly well. They're one of the teams that seem to know how to handle the way that Rangers play. Again, it's all about the Rangers players individually going into this game. Are they strong enough, to see out a team that's going to make it very, very difficult for them? In the past, we've just saw new Rangers players coming in and getting into a shell and going, I don't fancy this. And that's what it's going to be. It's going to be an absolute battle. So it's going to be a hard one for Rangers to get through.
Yeah, as far as some of the players that are going to take to the pitch, and some that might not be wearing a Rangers jersey again, this is what Russell Martin had to say on the future of some of his squad.
There's too many people here that are uncertain about their futures at the moment. So it's really difficult to then be all in all the time when you have half an eye on what's happening outside. And it's not no fault of their own. So I think there's guys that have been really clear that their futures are not here and they're slowly being resolved. And they're moving on and happy with what they're going to do next. And then there's some guys who are sort of a bit in and a bit out, depending on what their agent tells them some days. And that's like, it's not a surprise to me. We've had it everywhere.
Yeah, some players know that in the next 2 or 3 weeks they'll be heading out the door, but I thought Brendan Rodgers made a good point, which is very relevant to some of the Rangers players, and they should think long and hard about it. A lot of the Rangers fans have given them their hard-earned cash, and you're getting paid well. So if you are called upon, whether you're leaving or not, you should be giving 100%.
Yeah, you should, Peter. The club's paying your wages. They might be kicking out the team at the minute or out the squad, but at the end of the day, the club's paying your wages every month. You've got to give your best, very best for the club until you leave the club. And listen, there is a lot of speculation about a lot of Rangers players at the minute. There's supposedly players coming in, players coming out. But while you're at the club, and the supporters, and as I said, are putting their money in, the club are paying you, you give everything. You give 100%, and that's what the supporters look for.
Yeah, I think Jose Cifuentes is off to Toronto on loan, so slowly but surely, if he can't get them out in a permanent deal, he's shipping them out on a loan, Ruffy.
Yeah, well, if you listen to his sound bites, it's like really, there's a lot of players here I don't want, and don't judge me until I've got all my players in, until I get all these ones out the door. He's got, I think it was 6 or 7. Yeah, he's moving on.
Yilmaz's latest as well.
Yeah, he's away as well. That
Davis as well, Oxford.
Yeah, I mean, he's gradually, fortunately for him, he's been able to get people out the doors, because that can be the difficult part, people who just sit tight and are on a good wage. But that's every soundbite he's saying, look, don't put this on me. This is the past 4, 5, 6 years. I'm going to suffer this, so hang with me until I get it right. But as Tom said, supporters aren't like that.
Yeah, okay. Listen, one man who's getting a lot of plaudits, and rightly so, is the St Mirren boss, Stephen Robinson. Kerry Pollock was out there to find out what he had to say today.
Here at the St Mirren Training Centre today, Stephen Robinson is preparing his side to take on Rangers this Sunday in Paisley. And despite the Glasgow side's form coming into this one, Robinson still believes his side aren't the favourites to take maximum points.
You have to put that into perspective. Rangers are a huge football club that have again spent a lot of money on building their squad. So we should not get anywhere near them. On paper, we shouldn't get anything out of the game. But football's not played on paper, as I've alluded to many times. But we are very respectful of the team that we face. They're a strong side with players with individual brilliance that can hurt you. So I'm certainly not buying into that narrative.
The Buddies remain unbeaten against Rangers since last October, and a win this Sunday wouldn't come as such as a surprise for most. Stephen Robinson says it's something that highlights exactly how far the club has come.
Probably based on the results last season, yeah. For me, we'd still be a massive result to get any result over Rangers. Obviously, we are massively underdogs. We have to turn up and be at the very top of our game. I repeat myself here. It's certainly not a game we just expect to turn up and get something out of. It's a tough task.
It all takes place this Sunday at the Smythe Stadium. Kick-off is at 12 o'clock.
St Johnson.
Great to hear from Kerry there, by the way.
And
of course, Ruffy's just muttering along in the background. He was asking, I might as well tell him, by the way, because it's a great thing about this show. If you're wondering what Ruffy was muttering on about, he was asking what the stats were for St Mirren before he opens his mouth, and I just said to him, well, I've had 5 wins and only 1 defeat to Celtic, and he said, nobody cares about that rubbish League Cup. The man who won a League Cup medal in 1971. Yeah. Hey, you've got a short memory.
It was a harder route, you were saying?
Format, much harder route.
Yeah,
we had to beat St Johnson and Falkirk in the semi-final.
Ruffy, what's your take?
1 each.
One each?
Yep, I think it's going to be I think it'll be an exciting game. I think both teams will go for it. I think it'll be, as I said earlier, I think it's going to be very physical, and 1 each.
Yeah. Just in a breaking news, which I thought I'd throw in there, Regan Charles Cook announced a 2-year deal with Motherwell. What a good signing that is. Do you remember him?
Yep, he was at Ross County, brilliant.
Good lad.
Very good signing.
Yep.
Had a great season, and I think went over to Belgium. I think Hibs were linked to him as well. So Motherwell will obviously get a few quid in the coffers with the sale of Lennon Miller, and they're spending a few quid to strengthen their squad, so he'll be a good signing for them.
Rangers St Mirren.
I'm going to go for 2 each, Peter. I think that Rangers are poor at the back, but I think they look lively going forward. I think Gassama will cause St Mirren a lot of problems, but I just don't think they're good enough to go and win that game at the minute. I'll go 2 each.
Yeah, I'm going 1-1. What did you go, Ruffy?
1-1.
Oh, so we're all... Oh, right, okay. Give us your thoughts on that. That's an interesting one. Listen, if midweek was poor with 1 minute Celtic fans laughing at Rangers fans for the performance at Bruges, and then 24 hours later you get that inept performance from Celtic against Kairat Almaty. Last night I decided to sit down, Tam, and I thought, what game am I going to watch? And I opted for Aberdeen, and it was a great fight back in the second half, but boy, I thought the referee was murder. I mean, he was just so bad at defied belief. I mean, I think he booked an Aberdeen player for staring at him at one point.
The sending off for Steaua Bucharest was a joke.
I thought it was a joke.
That was an absolute joke. I thought Aberdeen would go and take advantage of that really poor decision. They didn't.
They're not good enough.
They went 2-0 down, Peter, and then second half they finished strongly. I mean, I think another 5 minutes Aberdeen would have won that game. So I still think they're in the tie, but I think Jimmy Tilleen's still to find his best team. I think he's still playing the boy Yengi, who hooked again at half time.
Yep.
He can't be playing him. Sockler came on and scored and done well. I think he'll start the next game, but I think he's still trying to get his best 11. I think once Aberdeen get into that best 11, I think they'll be decent, but I still think they're capable of going over. I wasn't impressed with Steaua Bucharest at all. Yeah. So I think they're capable of going over there and still getting through.
You do?
I do, Peter, aye. I think Aberdeen will still go through, aye.
Wow.
And you know what? Aberdeen have got an absolute free hit at it. They're in the Conference League anyway.
Yeah.
So go over and give it absolutely everything.
I'd love to see Aberdeen get into the Europa League, Ruffy, but I'm sorry, they're going to go over there and get stuffed. I might as well tell you because no, I mean, we're in this mood now. If we're taking on people and we're listening to pundits and people and journalists everywhere else who can't give you an opinion, you get an opinion on this show. And last night I thought the first half Aberdeen were murder, even against 10 men. And at one point I'm listening and I'm thinking to myself, does anybody else realise they're playing 10 men? I mean, they should have been at it. And another thing that really irks me nowadays, Ruffy, you're playing against 10 men. Any chance you could play the ball forward?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. I think if they'd kept 11 on the park, I think it would have been a bad night for Aberdeen. I think they'd have found it difficult. Tam's right, they did come into the game in the second half and they started throwing the kitchen sink at it. But by this team, the team that had 10 men were trying to see the game out. They were inviting Aberdeen forward, but defensively I thought Aberdeen were poor. And if they've got 11 men, well, they will have 11 men starting. I can't see them qualifying either.
Kenny says Jimmy doesn't know his best team. It's concerning. It is.
How long does he persevere with the big boy Yengi? Is what I'm thinking. Yeah, I thought he was really poor last night.
Well, he's not the main problem.
I know, but
you know what I mean.
It's your number 9.
I heard
it's a
Aberdeen.
focal point in your team.
I heard Aberdeen people going mental. Oh, Graham Shinnie's been dropped. So what? You know what I mean? He's putting a squad together. You want to see them attack. You want to see them have a go. Down to 10 men, they should have had a go. The goals they lost were just woeful. I mean, the boy up front was just creating havoc with them. They couldn't deal with them. But in saying that, here's a good line. And you know, more often than not, we do get lots of great points from lots of people who tune into the show, and a lot of them have been with us a long time. And Hugh Burns, Hugh Scott, Kenny, lots of people give us, and Aurora tunes in regularly as a big Aberdeen fan, said, it was a great atmosphere at Pittodrie last night, we're still in the tie. Listen, it is a great atmosphere. They had your favourite thing there, Ruffy, I noticed when I was watching the game. Oh, there's Ruffy's flags. I haven't seen a flag win a game yet, to be honest with you, but...
great atmosphere.
It's a great atmosphere, but come on, back the fans, give them something to shout about. They didn't do it.
Well, I think they did that in the last 15 minutes, as Tom said.
It's against 10 men, Ruffy.
I know, but that's why. But the fans bought into it. They hung in there. They were still, cheering them on, blah, blah, blah. But if you get a chance to watch, if you never saw the game, if you get a chance to watch YouTube, I don't know how, but YouTube have got the highlights of a game, and you've got.
When have you ever been on YouTube?
Listen.
You need technology.
Listen, so I stumbled onto it. I clicked the wrong button and went, "Oh, that's not what I want." Anyway, it came on and it had the commentating of the game. Yeah. The main commentator of the game, but I don't know why. But on the background was an Aberdeen supporter. And you could hear more what he was saying and what the guy going, oh, come on, he's the ball, man. And that was all.
He was raging.
Come on, referee, go on. You could hear him more than the commentator. It was hilarious.
Well, listen, I hope they can do it. I really... listen, it's Hugh Burns says, if Aberdeen sack Jimmy Tilleen, Peter will accuse Aberdeen of jumping the gun, whilst in all honesty, Peter thinks similarly. I'm
See if they hadn't won the Scottish Cup.
Ruffy.
with stats.
If they hadn't won the Scottish Cup, the Aberdeen fans would be calling for his head. It changed the whole dynamic.
Mm-hmm. But he won it, Peter. You can't say.
No, great. Hey,
he won it.
Absolutely. I think they're going to win. I think Steaua Bucharest will win handsomely in this game.
I'm going to go Aberdeen to cause a wee upset and get through.
Yeah. Aye. And by the way, there's a
proper team out.
There's a great point here from Hugh Burns who says, Peter, embarrassed by the Scottish results in Europe this week. So what's the remedy? Employ jock managers. No, I'll tell you one thing, Hugh, it's an interesting point you raise, and not just Scottish managers, nothing to do with that. Out of the 44 players, how many do you think were Scottish that started in the starting 11? Of the 44 players that took to the field for Hibs, Aberdeen, Celtic and Rangers?
I would hazard a guess at 8.
8?
Is it 8?
8.
I researched that last night.
Yeah, absolutely. You must have stumbled.
Just guess that.
You must have stumbled on it. It was 8, maybe 9. I was checking on somebody. Is Jack Iredale, is he Scottish? I don't think he is.
Maybe he is.
No, he's not. So it's 8. It's 8. Tam.
Yeah, I mean that's a major problem, and that's why the SFA are trying to remedy it by doing different things at the youth level. But yeah, it's not great for the Scottish game. It's not great for Steve Clarke that we're not getting enough players coming through and Scottish players playing in our top teams. But as I said, if Aberdeen get through, they'll not care. But I still think Aberdeen will go through this tie because I wasn't impressed with them at all.
You still think they're going to make it?
I think Aberdeen will go through.
Okay.
I like Milanovic. I like the winger for Aberdeen. I think he's really good.
Ruffy, as I look here, I was just checking on a couple of people's nationality. Ahora is Irish and Iredale's Australian. Yeah, so 8, Ruffy.
It was a guess.
It's not great, is it?
It's not. And if you're a Scottish up and coming youngster, these are the kind of things you've got to take into consideration for your career. You've got to look at the club that you're at, and if the club that you're at are bringing all these foreign players in, you've got to at some stage say, well, why am I? I've been here since I was 12-year-old. I've been desperate to play for this club. It's a club I've always wanted to play for. And as the years go on, there's less and less Scottish youngsters getting a game, so you've got to come to some decision.
Ruffy, you know what it's like sometimes. I always like to intervene sometimes if the feed, I love you reading it, but sometimes if the feed gets a wee bit hot, I try and take the sting out of it. But don't forget to try and keep it decent with regards to it's only football. We love talking about it, but you don't need to abuse anybody on our feeds or indeed in emails. Which reminds me, Ruffy, I kept a photograph of, there was 2 letters. One of my mates who worked at a television station sent me another one in midweek there, and it was the fan mail that we used to get on STV, and I mean it was just, the 2 of us, this boy hated us. I mean, he just despised us. And no matter what we said, even if we were complimentary about his team, Ruffy, you and I were getting it in the neck, and the writing was sensational. And that brings me nicely to some of the points here. Some people says, Thomas Bartley says, Peter, just give Ruffy a slap. It's as simple as that. He's not taking any of it.
How about Dan? Did you see Dan?
Where's Dan? Wait.
He's there.
Where's Dan? Dan. I can't read.
I echo his statement.
I can't read Dan's out. Dan's is mental. Dan, come
What's
on. He just says to Les,
He says, piss off, Les, yeah.
Yeah, you lost the cup final to Aberdeen, and you
Screwed Hibs.
Pretty
correct.
But and also somebody has had a go at me on the fact that I had to wear an Aberdeen top, and I was miffed at it. You're bloody right, I was miffed at it.
You're going to wear it again if Aberdeen beat Steaua Bucharest in Romania?
Well, can I tell you something? I should actually jump on that bet. Do you know why? Because when I lost the bet and Aberdeen won the Scottish Cup, right, I had to look everywhere to try and find an Aberdeen top.
You've still got that one there, haven't you?
I managed to find there's a shop that sells retro tops, and I managed to find an Aberdeen top, and it cost me 65 quid.
Did you take the receipt? Did you take it back after the show?
No. I should have done that. 65 quid, and it wasn't even one of the ones that you would call a favourite Aberdeen top. It was all right, but it wasn't worth wearing, Ruffy. Not if you.
No, but at least you fulfilled your bet.
Absolutely.
He didn't.
Have you ever? Here's a good question. Have you ever put on a top of another team that you? that you wouldn't have that you genuinely wouldn't have if you were a kid. Contemplated. Have you ever put on a top you thought there's no way? I mean, have you put on a Hearts top because you're playing a charity match or something?
No.
No.
I don't think I've ever had a Hearts top or a Rangers top or an England top or anything like that. No. Probably not.
Right, okay. Ruffy?
I had to wear a Hearts top because I lost a bet and I had to walk about the Gale Centre in Edinburgh, but on the full length of the Gale Centre.
Is that right? What was the bet?
What about the Gale Centre? Was it that as well?
The South Gale one.
The Gale?
I can't remember what.
The Gale?
The bet must have been a Hibs Hearts game.
Yeah, and you had to wear the Hearts jersey.
Yeah.
Wow. Listen, we've all done that. Kenny says, Peter, I'll send you one. I've got one. It cost me a pretty penny, I have to be honest with you, Kenny. And I wore it, to be fair, didn't I? Although the best one and my favourite one of all time was because I was good friends with Sandy Jardine, Ruffy. He did phone me up one day and say, look, we've got these competition winners and they've won a competition to play at Ibrox. And is there any chance you can come here and manage one side and the other boys in the other team?
So you're manager for Rangers?
I was a Rangers manager I was a Rangers captain for a day, and it was one of those days you had to walk out. But the worst thing about it was when I walked into the Rangers dressing room, Ali McCoist and Walter Smith had put up a strip with my name on it just under the photograph of the Queen and said, "Great to see you, Peter. We'll put this special one out for you." So, but you have to take one for the team every now and then. And Paul Brady, I think, summed it up brilliantly. Tam would wear anything for a shekel. You're absolutely right, Paul. Can't argue with you. There's a man who moved to a club that was on the verge of getting relegated rather than going to play for a club in Europe. That's all I'm going to say about it. Anyway, what about your Hibbies?
I thought it was a strange game, Peter. I didn't think Hibs played that poorly. I thought they started really well. I thought Mulligan should have scored. First 5 minutes would have been a great goal. He just has to pull the trigger. Then I don't think that's a penalty, Peter. You know, we talk about the handballs and all that. He just threw his cell. I don't think it's a natural position. I thought it was a soft penalty. Then they get the next one, and I thought then the goal disallowed. I thought 3-0 ties over. Then Hibs played really well towards the end. They made some changes. I think improved the team. I think Chaiwa coming on and Clegy coming on. I thought they two really done well when they come on, and they'll put food for thought in David Gray's mind for the next game, because I thought the two of them done really well. And they get the goal towards the end with Mulligan again, who again was outstanding. So I think 2-1, they're still in the tie, but they need to score first in Poland. If they score first in Poland, Peter, I think the tie's on. Again, I wasn't that impressed with them last night.
Yeah.
If Legia Warsaw they score the first goal and Hibs need to chase the game, then they're out. So I hope so. But I'd be more confident probably with Aberdeen than I would be with Hibs.
Well, David Gray is mega confident that he thinks they can do it in the return leg.
It's a key word: belief, momentum. We've actually felt it ourselves this season already. You know, we went over to Partizan and looking at it, thinking you're in control, you lose a goal, and what that does. So I think and then even here at home, 2-0 up against Kilmarnock, what the next goal in the game does. So, going over there, as I've just said, to the players, need to believe we can go and turn this around. The next goal in the game can be huge, and we've demonstrated already away from home in Europe that we can put in very good levels of performance, and we'll need to do that again.
Yeah, I'm not as confident, Ruffy, about where this one's ending up, although I'm so disappointed that Hibs lost that game.
Yeah, again, it was, as Tam said, the first 10 minutes was good. They were the one that were creating all the chances there. Their goalkeeper was making all the saves. Hibs goalkeeper, another bad one, to palm it back into play. Should we put it over the bar or something?
Change in now.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be a change in the goalkeeping.
Well, I thought there was a change last week. I don't know why he reverted back again.
I just don't think he's the most confident at the minute. The boy Smith and the boy Salinger's come in for big money in the summer. We've been inclined to start giving him a wee run of games now.
Are they winning?
No, not for me. I think that late goal from Mulligan gave them a bit of confidence, but if that hadn't went in, I think you would have to say they were out.
Yeah.
At 2-0.
Yep. So losing the...
I think they'll lose.
Unfortunately, I think Hibs might go out as well.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Okay, I think all three of us are agreeing about that. European football, it's just not been great. Give us your thoughts on it as well. We'd love to know what you think about it. Maybe not as blunt as Willie, who says Scottish teams are rotten. Willie, based on the evidence of this week, you're not far wrong. It's been painful watching it. I settled down to the Rangers game, Ruffy, and after 2 minutes I'm thinking, what is he doing with the defending? And then obviously watched the Celtic game, because we're still barred. And that one was painful as well, because it was a snore draw. And then Hearts and then Hibs and Aberdeen. Aberdeen, I sat and watched that game and I thought, come on, have a go. There's 10 of them on the park.
Yeah, I think everybody, if they were honest enough, would sum all these games up like that. There's no hiding it. What you saw before you, the mistakes, the style of play that some of them were doing. The Celtic game just reverted into corner kicks.
Yeah.
Trying to get a corner kick, a free header or something. It never happened. There was a mistake in that game for Cameron Vickers you would never ever have seen in the last 3 or 4 years. And so they got away with some, but obviously the goals that the Rangers lost were poor. I thought the Aberdeen goals as well were pretty poor. I think you summed up the 4 games. I don't think you could take anything out of the 4 games.
Bob White has. Scottish teams were ranked 9th in 2019. Now we're 19th, and we're in real trouble of always playing qualifiers over the next 2 or 3 years. Yeah, something needs to change, and I'll tell you what needs to change. Something needs to change in Scottish football about the development of Scottish players, or the way the coaches go about their business and understanding how to play European football, because we're bringing in a lot of players that are not up to it. And we've got to look.
There's
We've got to look at the
another
whole
thing as well,
situation.
Peter. About 5 years ago, they 5 young players that went abroad wouldn't have went abroad.
Yeah.
If they were getting games, if they were getting games here, the ones that have went to Italy and all that, they would have been here. They would have been gracing our game rather than going over to Italy and whatever.
And that money's been spent elsewhere, Tom. Something's wrong in the system.
Yeah, as I say, I don't have to you sit here for hours and discuss it and debate it, but you're right, until we are better technically on the European stage, we're going to struggle to get results. And we've seen it, Celtic done well and Rangers have done well, but this season I think you've seen a dramatic drop in all the teams in terms of technically.
Another question you've got to ask the clubs, why don't you take a chance in a young Scottish player? Why is it foreign countries?
I think they're under pressure, Peter, to get results. I think the league itself doesn't lend itself to blooding young players, which is another one. A bigger league would let managers have a wee bit more breathing space as well.
Okay, Celtic Livingston, Hearts against Motherwell, and also we've got Kilmarnock against Dundee at the weekend. Of course, Falkirk Hibs, Dundee United Aberdeen, those matches postponed. St Mirren play Rangers on the Sunday. So Hearts against Motherwell, are we going to Tynecastle? Motherwell, as Regan Charles Cook just signed in a 2-year deal. You can see all the fixtures there. Hopefully you'll get out and support Scottish football. We always... Listen, at times we can be rank rotten, but we like going to football. We love watching it. Fans are crazy for it.
Yeah, I love Scottish football, Peter. I've always said that to you. I'd rather watch a Scottish game than I would an English Premiership game, because I think there's a real honesty about our game. I think you
And a
see
dishonesty about the England game?
Yeah, it's just too much money down there, and it's just overpaid prima donnas for me, and it's an overrated league. I think Scottish football is really, really good to watch, and there's an honesty about it, and we know the teams, we know the players, we know the managers. We've got a fairly good insight into English football, not for me.
Just out of curiosity, and obviously you say there's too much money in it, if you eventually move to Sky Sports, which I think, and I can't see why not in the next couple of years, will you become arrogant and unbearable?
No.
No? You'll retain your roots?
I'll retain my Nedism. No, that's a word.
That's fine. Okay, Tom. But as far as Motherwell are concerned, Jens Bertel Askau, well happy with what he's doing and the support he's getting.
I heard a lot of good things about the club when I came. It's a well-supported club and very loyal fans. And I have to say, they've showed me that really, really fast. And I've been extremely impressed with their way of, especially the away support we've had. It has been incredible. 1,500 the other day was, a big number compared to the size of the club we are.
Yeah, absolutely. Hearts Motherwell. I expect Hearts to win this one, Ruffy, narrowly 2-1.
Yeah, I think Motherwell have been very good, surprisingly. I thought they might have struggled this year, but they haven't. They've competed very well, but I like you, I think going to Tynecastle, I think Hearts will be too strong for them, and I'm going to go Hearts to win 2-0.
2-0 for me as well.
Yep. Okay. Kelly against Dundee. Kelly beat Dundee United last weekend in the Premier Sports Cup. Dundee last result was an impressive 1-1 at Ibrox. The more he goes on in the week, the more he starts to get the message across. Stephen Presley still wants more players in though.
Yeah, I think he needs a hand, Peter. He needs some experience in there. I think that will give the whole club, the whole city a real boost. Going and getting a result against Rangers, but. This is going to be a tough one down to Kilmarnock, who have started well this season in that AstroTurf. I'm going to go sit in the fence here and go for a one each draw. Yeah,
I think it's going to be a draw as well, Ruffy.
Yeah, I'll go 2 each.
Yeah, okay. You can give us your thoughts on Scottish football, of course. There's only 3 matches on this weekend due to the fact. Can you stay for the 3 matches for the predictor for this week, Tam? Because we're going to give it our great gusto on it to see exactly how we're faring with it all. It's getting it gets to the difficult part when you try and second guess some teams that you're expecting to win, but they're just not winning.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of tricky games. I think particularly that Kilmarnock Dundee game, and I think that'll be a hard one to call. But yeah, I'm looking forward to giving predictions.
What do you think is going to happen for Scottish clubs in the European matches? Give us your thoughts on that. If you want to get involved in subscribing to PLZ Premium, you'll get early access to our programming. The football show stays absolutely free. We want to emphasise that to you. But there's other additional programme, one-to-ones and lots of giveaways and prizes to win that are coming up. And this week we will announce the winner of the Napoli replica top, Ruffy. Somebody's going to have it on, looking cool, down the street with a McTominay number 8 on the back.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's great sitting watching it just now. I'm sure everybody loves a Continental jersey, and you don't see very much of them kids wearing them now, so it will be a one-off.
Yeah, okay, good luck with that. Ruffy's just giving you a tremendous insight into the
Continental jersey.
Yes, that's brilliant. You don't hear that much, do you? A Continental jersey, Tam. It's not one of those things that you normally hear. Okay, we love our football, and you know, sometimes when you lose a person who also shares that belief, who's held quite a high position in football, then when they pass away, it is a loss to our game. And I think lots of Hibs fans will be maybe sparing a thought for Rod Petrie, who sadly lost his life at the age of 69. Our thoughts, condolences, prayers go out to the family and friends. Here, if you want to, subscribe to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. We'd love to have you on board as a football family, and we would like to say thank you to everyone. Not only are we on YouTube, we've got, of course, the website and the app as well, where you can actually watch, and you'll get all the breaking news at your fingertips as well. And there's lots more to come, lots more great programming on the way that I think you're really going to enjoy. So with that, Ruffy, he is now away to see if he can win the America's Cup. Just after he plays Bulls, he'll get on the yacht. He's in second place at the moment. Tam and I are tipping him to lose heavily once he gets on the yacht, because
Some outfit, Ruffy.
it really is.
Some outfit, man.
You need to have a
Stand
long
up, Ruffy. Let's see your shorts.
No, I mean, it's going to be winter time.
Show everybody
Your shots.
show everybody the knee that's not allowing you to
No,
play tennis.
that's my knee. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's coming on. It's
Yeah.
coming on.
Are you back next week?
No, it's coming on.
Okay, there you are. He says to me, I'm not playing in this year's championships. And he says, and I said, well, that's it over for you. And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, you're 74. You're not making next year's championships, is he?
Time's running out, Ruffy.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to get into the championships.
All in
Doubles
tennis.
partner.
All in tennis, but in life.
Is there any chance? Why don't you just get a marksman out of him, you, by the way? You're trying to get rid of him for the last 5 years. Don't worry.
You know what,
He'll see us out, Ruffy.
Don't worry.
I'll be here, don't worry.
He'll lift 100.
Ruffy, Jonah, when this ship goes down, you'll be there with me. You're mad. I'd love to see you make 100, Ruffy. I wouldn't rule it out. From Ruffy, from the ever youthful Tam McManus, and from myself, Peter Martin, thank you for listening and thank you for watching.